Chapter 2: A Simple Question. With that simple question, Bouncer went into overdrive. Before he got too far, Dellie stepped in and started to answer. Well, in short, I rescued Graham and Bouncer and salvaged their equipment, as I touched on a few minutes ago. Yes, said Elon. You said their ascent stage had become compromised. More like stolen or completely hidden, answered Dellie. And we have no idea why. More importantly, I am in need of their services on a very important mission of my own, one that could change the future of mankind. That sounds a little dramatic, Dellie. Are you sure of the magnitude of what you're saying? Questioned Elon. Well, to answer that question, Elon, we may need some additional privacy and your absolute promise of confidentiality. Of course, replied Elon, intrigued by Dellie's candor. Please proceed. This site is as secure as I could want. For the next few minutes, Dellie outlined what he had already told Graham and Bouncer. Many times during the monologue, Elon simply nodded his head and said yes or After pausing for a couple of minutes to decompose everything, Elon eventually spoke. Well, if anyone else had told me that, Dellie, I would have never believed them. But as it is you, I know there is no doubt as to its authenticity. Time travel, you say? That is truly mind-altering. I have so many questions. I bet you do, Elon. But first you will need to debrief Graham and Bouncer after their Trigon mission for NASA and release them so we may start on mine. Of course, agreed Elon. It should not take long. Graham's reports were thorough and timely, so it will be a brief debrief. He smiled as he finished his sentence. After the debrief, Graham and Bouncer met again with Dellie and started to plan their next move. While their debrief was happening, Dellie had prepared the portable phase shifter tech they would need and some other special items that were yet to be disclosed. Hi guys, said Dellie. How are you feeling? A little strange without arms, but I'm sure we'll get used to it, replied Graham. Not a worry, said Dellie. Your phase shifters are ready. Are you ready for them? Defo, shouted Bouncer. When can we have them? Right now, said Dellie proudly, passing them the phase shifters, then activating them. After a second or two of shimmering and glowing, the boys returned to their previous forms of young adults. Both Graham and Bouncer looked at themselves and then each other. Truly amazing, Dellie, thank you again, said Graham. I cannot believe these pieces of tech. Thank you both too. These are more powerful in some ways, as you can change your apparent age to better fit in. Try it. You just need to think the age you want, and the tech will sync with your neural maps, and bingo. With that, they started glowing and shimmering, and after a few seconds, before Dellie stood two 30-somethings, still recognizable from their younger selves, but now more mature. I love it, a human me, said Bouncer, before proceeding to pogo around the room. No longer fitted with suspension, was nowhere near as dramatic. Right then, to business, said Dellie. Of course, they both replied, sitting at a table. Okay, Sepulchre. Dellie paused just after he said it, as if the weight of what he had already seen was preventing any more words coming out. Sepulchre ends up being a truly globally and powerful entity. From what I have pieced together, it all comes back to one person and one event. Really? Said Graham. How can so much be so dependent on one person and one thing happening? Some people call it the butterfly effect, said Dellie. What have butterflies got to do with it? Asked Bouncer. It's more what can happen thousands of miles away when a butterfly beats its wings. Or put more simply, how something as big as a hurricane in Japan could strike just because a butterfly took off in Alaska. Can that happen? Asked Graham. That's the wonder of Earth's atmosphere, replied Dellie. Pretty much anything can happen due to the complex nature of winds, temperature, sun, solar winds, humidity, the list of factors goes on. Okay then, so one person and one event can allow Sepulchre to rule the world, summarized Graham, not really believing it could really be that simple. So why can't we just stop that one thing and it will all be fixed? Dellie paused before replying. Well, that would be easy in one sense. But so many things need to happen in between now and the future, and we simply cannot allow for them to not happen, or else those many, many more things could go wrong, or not happen at all. So what do we do, Dellie? Asked Bouncer. We have to intervene as many times as we can, prevent specific sepulchre-related events from happening, whilst allowing others to occur. Can Bouncer and me do that, Dellie? Asked Graham, genuinely concerned for the scale of what Dellie was explaining. Yes, Graham, yes you can, Graham, assured Dellie with a wink in his eye. With just a little help from me.